This will be my presentation on Orientalism portrayed in American Eastern media. Part 1. Cinema. Hong Kong cinema has been influential in shaping how we perceive film and methods of storytelling, cinematography, and editing. Let's take a look at the one-armed swordsman. There's fast-paced fighting and cutting shots, zoom-ins on expressions, and false effects such as red bloodstains in between takes as an arm-bound actor cuts between shots pretending to be a one-armed fighter killing his nemesis. These methods of filming are known to be used in Hong Kong cinema, and they tend to go from humorous scenes to mixed tones featuring numerous shots of slicing of the swords, bouncing and hovering of the fighters in midair, and feature rich primary color palettes with little room for the film to be completed with dialogue. Similarly, the kung fu films have often bounced between pathos and silly comedy, and this tendency to mix tones continued throughout the 1980s. Because of rush shooting, the plots often ended abruptly, with a big action set piece but little in the nature of a mood-setting epilogue. The process of filming is comparable to the classic Hollywood feature film Casablanca, as the Hungarian director Michael Curtiz did not finish the screenplay during the production, and no actor nor writer knew who Milsa was going to end up with in the end until the final day of shooting. What makes filming in Hong Kong different from Casablanca, however, is how directors relied more on actors' improvisation rather than printed scripts, and relied on their fast-paced acting in a short period of time, as well as their fighting techniques. Lau Kar-leung, for instance, used his background in martial arts to incorporate into his films. Wong Kar-lai, who was, quote, notorious for shooting films without finished scripts, produced Chungking Express, which revolutionized cinema, pinning the Hong Kong director on the map. We notice him using renowned actors such as Takeshi Kaneshiro, Tony Leung Chu Wai, and Bridget Lin to play the characters and use different film techniques to capture the vibrant energy in the world of Hong Kong. Andrew Lau Wai Kong, the cinematographer who filmed the first portions of Chungking Express, created the blurred-out backdrop via the technique of step printing to encapsulate the rapid energy of extroverted Officer 223 hunting down the blonde-haired woman. This provides audiences a thrilling feeling of being chased by security forces, as well as the voiceover commentary to give context to what is occurring within the scene. Another sequence of the film shows Officer 223 purchasing pineapples every day before the expiration date to show his ex that he still loves her, but falls in love with a blonde woman. The latter two-thirds of the feature reveal how the countergirl, Faye, has her head in the clouds dreaming of California, while the secluded Officer 663 develops romantic feelings towards her. However, the two stories mirror each other as the two cops fall in love with the female characters who soon leave them near the end of the story, until the second one returns for California at the end. The Hong Kong feature makes it a very different film from American Hollywood cinema, as it creates a more complex approach to describing relationships, time, space, and change. The way the directors experiment with sound and time with editing software that is unfamiliar to the American public allows it to become a standout film in Hong Kong cinema and opens the door to Western spectators of filming from the nation-state. Part 2. Asian representation in Hollywood. Most commonly in Western films and series, Asians are represented as bright, intelligent, and academically adept people sticking by traditional values. Sometimes in Hollywood, non-Asian actors are even hired to display Asian characters, as resulted in a casting process for the movie 21 sparking controversy. To break those common stereotypes, some American media attempted to create Asian characters that are more relatable to audiences. Lane, for example, from Gilmore Girls, has shown to be more defiant against her family traditions by hiding her interest in rock music, different styles of clothing, and dyeing her hair. However, Chung debates that this was othering Korean culture, as it disposes how Lane's parents enforce their practices while Lane tries to revolt against those customs, denouncing her background. There are even television programs which attempt to break away from the common stereotypes that don't denounce but celebrate Asian cultures and normalizing their traditions, such as in Fresh Off the Boat. The first Asian American series in more than 20 years introduces the character Eddie Huang as the black sheep of the family, being an unruly, outspoken, rap-loving preteen who wants desperately to fit in at his new school, while his brothers are dedicated to schoolwork, sharing their own personalities. Eddie's character does not follow the same stereotype as he does not follow his household's boundaries, and it is based on the experiences of book author and creator of the series, sharing the same character's name while he was a young boy. The movie adaptation of the novel trilogy Crazy Rich Asians does a similar approach to defy the common conventions upon Asian Americans, bringing upon a multidimensional cast and characters speaking languages including Hokkien, Cantonese, and Mandarin common in Singapore. According to Shigino, however, the film does not bring to light Asian experiences of being othered by those that do not share the same background, depicts the Singaporeans as materialistic, and it does not bring a realistic idea of life and customs in Singapore. However, both the film and novel succeed in describing the clash and dynamics between two different cultures and the dimensions between class and love. Amy Tan's The Droila Club and Jish Jen's Typical American use the author's own experiences of being children of Chinese immigrants to incorporate elements of their culture into their work while using protagonists who deal with assimilating dilemmas. For instance, the Droila Club brings themes of avoiding forsaking cultural traditions from inborn country while engaging in the culture of the New World. While Tan's work also discusses the topic of relationships between mothers and their American-born daughters by utilizing Chinese folk myths, Jen's Typical American unfolds the darker side of American culture. Jen's work investigates the point of view of three first-generation Chinese-American protagonists who submit into American ideologies of consumerism and the American dream, leading to a negative aftermath. Part 3. Multiculturalism. Just as in the To All the Boys series, people born with mixed ethnicities draw connections between characters sharing multiple backgrounds. These ideas are brought to light by author Jenny Han. Being a first-generation student born from Korean immigrants, Han attended UC Chapel Hill and began her writing career composing The Summer I Turned Pretty and To All the Boys I Loved Before, both including protagonists born with Asian and Caucasian backgrounds. Mixed heritage is represented throughout each of the series, consolidating the author's experience in American society while living with Korean customs. Notice how in these chapters of To All the Boys I Loved Before, how after her mom's passing, Laura Jean's father attempts to upkeep their knowledge of their mother's Korean traditions by cooking their mom's favorite Korean dish, bringing the daughter's Korean grandmother over for Thanksgiving, and bringing the Covey sisters dressed in hanboks to their maternal family during New Year's Eve. Within the trilogy, The Summer I Turned Pretty, the protagonist Isabel Conklin was originally not written as having two heritage in the novel, but comparable to Laura Jean, Tan opted for the teenager to have both Korean and European backgrounds for the series adaptation. However, the fact that the Conklin family also incorporates some Korean background does not impact the themes or messages, as it is proclaimed it was made for the series to be, quote, more digestible for audiences, as Hollywood tends to lean towards a majority audience to gain appeal from international viewers. Nevertheless, it does not intervene the quality of the themes of relationships during when Isabel develops feelings towards Jeremiah and Conrad, familial conflicts, and the struggle of discovering the boy's mother's cancer diagnosis. The two series create a way for biracial characters to be constituted for audiences with hybrid backgrounds to associate with the characters while embracing cultural diversity for people to feel included within Western society. Representation and influence of Asian cultures is widening across North America, and understanding each of the traditions deriving from the continent is a leap forward to allowing people with certain backgrounds to appreciate their heritage.